Hello everybody, this is Simon with Let's Play Mega Man Zero. Last time we were told that apparently it is now completely possible to just warp from here directly to the enemy's lair, which is what we're going to do. But first, a little something extra. On-screen elf upgrading. Woo! Excitement! Just because I felt like I'd had to make a million GIFs just to show this, and it's pretty quick anyway. For how cumbersome the system is just by virtue of those guys costing an insane lot of crystals, at least this goes by relatively quickly. Oh god, what did I do to you? So yeah, they have another portrait for every upgraded elf, and 3 of course for the triple upgrades, which is a surprising amount of effort, which I appreciate, for a system that is just not used by any players whatsoever. As you can see, I didn't really grind for elves at all, for crystals, and I did just one factory run, and it was exactly enough to upgrade 2 minor elves, which is kind of shitty. Both of which are animal elves, because I feel like most others just don't warrant the effort, except for the health elves if you have problems playing the game, obviously. But those two just make the game a little easier. Less cumbersome, I mean. Especially the speed elf, the wall crawling elf. I'm so used to the normal speed that this sometimes trips me up even. But as we're going to see later on, it is actually a boon for a very specific part of the game. For now though, let's just start this mission, which is not a very good one. It has multiple problems and I'm going to address those as they come up. It's not atrociously bad, it's just not that much fun in my opinion. First of all, more triple rod, because why not? Hate those wolves. This very first part is already pretty cumbersome in my opinion, because the vultures are always bad news with the limited screen size, and the wolves are just an ass of an enemy. You just have to take your time and lure them out and gauge where they're coming from, and if they just touch you, they will funnel themselves to you, and it's just not fun at all. This section here, in though I'm flubbing at the moment, is probably my favorite in this level. It's just very well done and designed in how they spawn and how you can just go through at the top of speed you have, if you don't fuck it up as I just did. This, however, is already portending a problem, whoops, which I have in a lot of places in this stage. It's just annoying to fall and fail, and as you can see here, we have to get this platform moving to get those elves here, but the platform doesn't stay moving, which means there is no way for me but to drop down and do it all over again. Cumbersome, yes, definitely, and it could be improved by a little change, so I'm very willing to complain about it. Also, the vultures, you really have to know that they're there, otherwise they will knock you off and you will have to start it all over again. Joy! So, suddenly a boss. At least it's presented like one, it's more of a mini-boss. These two guys are pretty random and out of nowhere. And, well, all you have to do is destroy one then the other. I was willing to experiment a little more with the triple rod charge, and it's actually pretty good here. It also shows a little problem, because as you might have seen if you're watching the 60 FPS version on Balderdash, this guy didn't flash at all once. And I'm pretty sure that he isn't getting hit all the time, because I keep having that problem. I do think that the charge attack of the triple rod, because nobody uses it, honestly, is just a little bit bugged. Might be the case. And it's also really not that good even if it hits all the time. These guys take far too long. I mean, maybe they are resistant to ice, but charged sword slashes are just so much better in any aspect. This part here is actually pretty good, because I like going up without having to fall down all the time, and now watch this. Man, this looks especially badass, but I was very surprised that I could pull it off at the very first try, because it's actually really fucking tricky. One saving grace it has is that it is very consistent. If you just go up top speed and immediately do your trick, then you will nail it every time, if you can do the execution itself, of course. Another ass of an elf coming up, and this one, boy, is really stupid. Because I'm hesitating here This is the very first time I've actually landed on this fucking platform. First of all, how the hell are you supposed to know that this is here? I mean, seriously, there's absolutely no indication. When you drop down, you will get hit all the time, by the way. Which is probably a major problem with it, but there is also a related one, which we're going to see in a second, but first of all, this is how you do this. Just don't stop too much. Yeah, it is very well done, as I said. So, this is what usually happens when you do not have the wall slide stick elf, the frog one. You fall too quickly. This is the only instance in the game where you need, quote-unquote, an elf to get another one. The only other option you have is this. Shoot the thing in the air and wait. Because there is a very nice feature about the elves. As it can sometimes happen that they get stuck in the wall or something just by placement of the containers, they will eventually gravitate towards Zero's position, as shown here. It's just very slow. But at least it works and it gives a workaround for this fucking elf. So I'm not complaining at all about that. And yeah, as I said, the elf on top is also really tough to get, but actually makes sense in how the enemies are placed. It's a nice puzzle to get there. The execution, as I said, once you figure out two tricks, it's pretty easily done. The first of all, as I said, is that you can just go top speed and make it. The second is that the only time in the game where momentum is actually relevant is when you're pogo jumping with the triple rod. You have to keep your dash. So, a boss, I guess. The second one in this stage, and it's not going to be the last, because otherwise it would have made more fair. It is really not anything to write home about. This is about all it does. You've already seen everything, and it's pretty boring. It's also got the very random feature of deflecting single shots, which it doesn't need to have because it has invincibility anyway. And as the arena is so big, it's absolutely no problem to dodge everything he's going to throw at you. You have to knock him out of his whirlwind attack, else he would not stop it, but you're completely safe on the walls, as you are from this. The only thing he can hit you with is his jumping attack. So all this is just a complete joke and a waste of my time. Also one thing I've got against this stage, it's just too long for its own good. Mostly with time wasters like these, and the completely and utterly forgettable mini-boss from before. I mean, it's kind of you're assaulting it and going ever more upwards, and as you can see in the background, we went from a grassy field, which only was there for a second, to high up in the sky, and it makes a lot of sense and is a nice progression, but you know, I'm just not feeling the stage at all. This elf will absorb bullets and turn it into health. I was expecting more problems, but it just goes to show that the elf is completely worthless. So this fucking section, I hate it. Vanishing blocks, you know, I do really not like vanishing blocks, but these are particularly assholish because you will slide off the edge. You cannot wall jump on them, and if you ever fall down, which is going to happen, then you have to go through this barrage of enemies that are just there to slow you. There is no real way to take this section quickly, at least I haven't found one, and you can throw your face against them and hope for health drops, which will come probably, but it's very unelegant, or just tough it out and wait, and it's fortunately, very fortunately, you can cut this first part short, because fuck doing all of that. A single dash jump here is going there, and it just goes to show again that this section is absolutely horribly designed and not much thought went into it at all. And you can only go by with only having 3 of them, and you see this fucking bullshit? Yeah. Oh, great, so when do I jump? So, the only saving grace I could imagine for this being here is that on all of the other 2 pagodas in this level there was 2 elves, and you could theoretically think, oh, there is going to be one on top of this too, but seriously, how were you supposed to figure that one out? And just jumping blindly into the abyss, we already had this 2 to 3 times, depending on how you define the pogo jump in this level, so the retarded elf placement doesn't really help it, in my opinion. Yeah, you have to use those 2, of course. 2. So in theory, the blocks shooting down, and also being blocks of course, So they are an obstacle both below and on top is a neat design, but the execution is just so botched and flawed that I really do not like it. Finally, the boss! Also nothing to write home about, really. I mean, after all, we killed his boss already, or defeated him at least. So who cares? Retirement. Bro, sorry to inform you, but you do not have a sword. I'm the one with the sword, and I'm going to show you how to use it. These shots are easily blocked by going up the wall. Dodged, I mean. You really do have to do that, in fact. And his electric chains are also not tough at all to dodge. And while he's doing them, he's leaving him open for a lot of being slashed. In fact, after every attack, you can get off a full combo if you're standing near enough. And this wrecks bosses. I do not have to tell you this, you can see it. Which makes this guy a complete and utter pushover. Even his X kill, which we are going to see in a future hard mode video, is absolutely nothing to write home about. A little harder to dodge, I guess, but not really tough. He also has a big energy ball. CL disrupted, what do you mean with that? He also has a big slow moving energy ball, which can kind of be a problem, but not really. You're also dodging it by going up the wall and jumping over it. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it fills up my health at least. Disrupted the area, seriously? The elf's name also were pretty poorly translated in this stage. But so you can see why most people don't really like using elves too, because it docks you a lot of points. Because of my permanent elves, they will always reduce my total points from now on, and I will probably have a C rank at the end of this just by virtue of them being so costly in the point department. It is just not that good of an idea all around, sadly enough, though being able to run fast is certainly appreciated. Well, I'm just going to take out a totalitarian government all by myself. It is kind of the definition of pushing myself hard. So, well, there's work to do. Goodbye. Thanks for your attention.